Hello, my name is Carlos Bulling, and today I'm going to explain what a book talk is. A book talk is like a promo for a book. It's not quite a read along, but it is kind of like a page for page summary that uh, builds interest in the book. You recall the best events in a book, the funny moments, the exciting parts. That is pretty much all I know about a book talk. I used to do book reviews, and I found them similar. But a book talk, on the other hand, is it's not a review. You don't give away any spoilers. Definitely, you don't want to give away the ending. You just go through the story. Talk about what's good about it. Highly recommended, Matilda. It is the story of a child who is exceptionally bright. Here's all the characters. You have Matilda, Michael, her brother, Mrs. Honey, which is her teacher, Mr. and Mrs. Wormwood, Bruce Bogtrotter, Amanda Thripp, Matilda. So, why do you want to read Matilda, or do you want someone to read to Matilda? This is it's a lot to read. It's 200 pages. I wonder how I did it myself. But it actually was pretty easy. Starts off reading books when she's very young. She's only basically a toddler. She's already reading the newspaper. And there, Matilda grows older and she's reading, she starts off with a magazine. And she finishes reading the magazine and says, "Oh, I want to read more than a magazine." Her parents, they don't really like her to read. They watch TV, so she's going to say, "Okay, I'm going to go to the library." So I'm going to go to the library afternoon while my mom plays bingo. And then here's Matilda is continuing her reading. And so this already makes you want to read. How am I going to read Matilda? Well, Matilda is only 4 years old, and she's reading very well. Here we have Matilda and um, the librarian, Mrs. Phelps, and she helps her to select some books that are more advanced, like Charles Dickens. She continues reading even though it drives her parents crazy. Parents are kind of wild. You see her mother watches TV, and her father kind of like not a great guy because he like has a shady business, a business that it's an auto shop, and then the cars are tinkered with, so they're made to look nice, but they're really bunk cars. They're just broken cars that are, they have sawdust put in them so they don't make noise and don't rattle, and he ends up ripping people off. And so Matilda is, she's being treated not well by her parents, and then she goes ahead and she gets revenge, and she puts glue on the hat of her father, and then like the father can't get the hat off, and then various funny stories, that go alongside the main story. The ghost is a funny chapter, and that is where Matilda borrows a parrot in order to pull pranks on her mom and dad so they stop being mean to her and leave her alone. So mean he rips up one of Matilda's books. We have the parrot. Now the parrot says, "Rattle my bones." It says, "Rattle my bones." Oh, it's so funny. The parrot's put in the chimney so that the mom and dad think there's a ghost inside the house. So basically, things like this ensue, put in the chimney. And then Matilda goes to school where there's a very mean bully also named Mrs. Trunchbull. And she's the one that she decides it's time to do something about this teacher. And her other fellow student, Lavender, uh, gets a creature called a newt and puts it inside the water jug of this Mrs. Trunchbull. There's a newt. It's like a salamander, and it's put in the water jug of this school teacher to get revenge. And after this point, there is a power that Matilda gains, and I'm not going to tell you what that power is, but we already know that Matilda is very intellectual. She's very bright. She's a reader, and her teacher, Mrs. Honey, thinks she's very bright. Here's Mrs. Honey. This is Mrs. Matilda's teacher. That becomes a way for the two to help each other. So here's a teacher. She has a very difficult principal. Well, it's called a headmistress because it's an English book. And then it's a story of like people helping each other against the mean bullies in the school system. And here, like, you even have this boy who took the cake from the principal's table, and now he's being forced to eat the cake. And everyone's scared he's going to get sick. She's all marches out and demands he eat the cake, humiliates him, puts a show. Lavender, Matilda's friend, she has some things in common with Matilda to kind of put a stop to that. But it goes further, becomes a good story about relationships, different people. And here you can see the boy who was eating all the cake. He ate all of it and didn't get sick, and then they cheer him on. And then the principal, the headmistress, gets all upset. There's things like that make the story very humorous. The rattle my bones, the parrot, the hat getting stuck to the head. Matilda, plus she's cute. She's like 5 toward the end of the story. And she's like a smart kid, and she likes to read. And have you ever just wanted to read and just have no one bother you? There are things that, like, everyone has some talents and abilities. So, I mean, if that is you, then this is a story for you. And if it's not, it's still a good story. I recommend it for story time. It's really funny. And I remember it from when I was a kid. And I hope you all have someone read it to you or read it yourself.